Well, welcome back. I have a really good episode for you today. But that's not really too surprising because today's episode is Hellboy, The Wild Hunt, and so far every single one of these has been an absolute banger. Now, there are a few trigger warnings for this episode. You see the cross disrespected, depictions of Satan, a little bit of violence, a little bit of gore. But I think, honestly, despite the serious nature of what I'm saying, it's really quite harmless in there. If you're this far in with me, you know it's nothing you haven't seen so far. I would love to invite you back next week when I'm going to be doing The Spirit. This one has returned the Black Queen and the Black Queen's army, so I can't wait to see what happens there. Denny Colt, he always finds a way to trick his way out of the situation. But this week is Hellboy, and I can't wait to get into it, so let's just do it already. Welcome to the main segment. As always, we have a very well-printed, glossy issue from Dark Horse and Hellboy, and being so, it reflects a lot of light. So I'm going to try my best to keep the glare off of this issue. I know it's been a problem, especially in the last video. So these covers have been pretty accurate up to now, to what's in the book. And what do you have? Yeah, freaked out looking Hellboy. You have a very old looking Saxon sword, which I don't know if it being yellow denotes the material it's made out of, or if it was a stylistic choice. It's not elaborated on here. There's this old kind of like statue of a king or portrait, I don't know, 3D wall art looming out behind him. You really see how the hand is in this one too. The back, you want to make your bets now? It's still the same. I do love this. So just a quick catch up. In the last issue, Hellboy was fighting that dude on the bridge, some sort of baron of hell or some such, so he could get access to the castle of this chick that called him there, so he could save the chick he's with, Alice, who was poisoned by that little Grungridge dude in a previous episode. Okay, so we're here at this castle, and there's no fire anymore. And it's kind of dawning on me, I'm amazed these trees are even there anymore. I think they would have just dried out by now. So, somewhere. It's funny it says that because we know where this is. So who was that guy on the bridge? Eligos. He was a duke in hell, a knight of the Order of the Fly. But after his defeat by you, I suspect he's been demoted. He said something about collecting what's owed. Payment for powers granted me by his master a long time ago. And you don't pay your debts. Still, he was keeping you trapped in here, so you need me to get rid of him. You honestly believe a creature like that could hold me prisoner? I could have left at any time. Why didn't you then? And you might notice there's still these creepy dead bodies hanging everywhere, and it actually does explain this. I want to stop to talk about this art though. Because, I mean, like, man, just look at the shadowing on that stonework. Like, this makes me want to go rip up my own art in, like, a jealous frustration and shame. Because, I mean, Jesus Christ, dude. I especially love how he just knows to poke out little bits to give hint of the detail, but just leaves most of it shadowed. Like, ugh. And the skeletons, you can actually make them out pretty clearly, and they are creepy as heck. Kind of a fish-looking one there. I don't know if that's a pattern. Maybe the guy was holding a fish. Maybe it looks like it's on his crotch, so he has a fish crotch. Oh, you know what that is? That's not a fish. That's his knees. So again, they're talking, and Hellboy's kind of cracking a joke that she was pretty much prisoner there, and she's saying she could leave whenever she wanted. And he asks, why didn't you then? And her response is, because, Hellboy, I've been waiting for you. Then she turns and talks to Alice. Dear, this must be terribly boring. And you've been through so much. You're not well yet. You should go rest. I'm fine. You sure? She's fine. When I first got here, why did you say welcome home? And you might notice this is right about where I noticed that Hellboy, in his battle in the last one, his trench coat got messed up, but they gave him some nice fur coat, very very nice drip. It's like they just gave him like a bathrobe when he walked in. Perhaps you prefer the house where you were born? Some chains are broken. No, I thought not. Wine? And she offers him some wine with these dusty webs on it. And I really love how this guy draws webs. I mean, it's not conventional, but I don't know. I've never seen anyone else draw webs quite that way. It's a very unique choice. Probably not one I would make on my own. She just starts pouring the glass. And this is another one of those just fabulous panels. I mean, like, the lighting on the glass, multiple layers of it. There's a lot of hard textures to get in here. So, as he's looking at the dusty wine, which, you know, I didn't see her take a cork out, so it's just been sitting there open. He's just like, no thanks. You know who I am? And then one of the birds cuts in, Morgan Le Fay. I want a cracker. It's been a while, but I remember the story. Half-sister of King Arthur, and mother of his only son, Mordred. He tried to steal his father's kingdom. King Arthur of Alabama. The two met at the Battle of Camlan, where they killed each other. It's commonly believed that the Pendragon line ended there, but it's not true. Mordred had 3 bastard sons by a witch named Catherine of Gulfich. A few of Arthur's knights who survived Camlan knew this, tracked the boys down, and put them to death. You have this creepy, like, I guess that's one of the dead knights, and he's just walking up on this horrifying looking child, and he's just like, oh! So, yeah, dead kids. But there was also a daughter, and she they did not find. She grew up in hiding, and eventually had a daughter of her own, and that daughter had a daughter, and that daughter a daughter, and so on. So the Pendragon name was lost, but the royal bloodline continued, hidden behind other names, Dell, Hamilton, Talbot, an unbroken line of witches. He shows her little scribblings in a book. To Sarah Hughes, your mother. What are you saying? She had 3 children, but only one still lives. And Alice is like, huh? Wouldn't that make you? Don't say it. And you really see the sweet-ass coat he's wearing here. Even has a little tail slit. I guess they really were waiting for him. I know what he likes. Here comes up one of your trigger warnings in the issue. I guess I should have put nudity too, but I mean the nudity is always really loose in these. I don't think this is getting anyone excited. Sarah Hughes, who used to fly to the Sabbath on the back of a demon in the shape of a goat. And on Walpurgis night, 1574, she married that demon. Aziel. And though on her deathbed she repented all her evil deeds, died, was chained into her coffin. Yet some priest and nun here prayed over. By your name save me. By our might defend my cause. And then, whoa! I like how the nun is just stoic and still like praying, but the priest is just he looks like a DBZ character. That demon would not be denied his bride. And that very night she was taken down to hell, where she delivered a son. I mean, even in death, and again, this is one of my favorite pictures I think I've seen out of Hellboy altogether, just the priest and the nun still praying their skeletons. It's just so badass. And again, such great use of black. And one of the knight's eyes are smoking for some reason. The first male descendants of Mordred, son of Arthur, rightful king of Britain. Holy crap. You are your father's son, but you also had a mother. Either way, you are bound to wear a crown. And it focuses on all the dead guys hanging from the ceiling. You don't believe me? I'll show you. Yeah, I like how they do the light trail here. Just walking them through hallways all lined with these dead dudes. You know the story of King Volgrin's tower, no? Every day he had his masons working to build a tower on a certain hilltop, and every night the tower would fall. The child Merlin was sent for, and he explained that under that hill was a pool, and in it 2 dragons, one red and one white. And each night they would fight each other, shaking that day's work to the ground. The king had his men dig, and of course found this to be true. I like to imagine the dead bodies are just like, as she passes by them. Merlin said the red dragon was Britain. The right one was the Saxons. He prophesied that the white would conquer the red, but that one day Arthur would come to set things right again, and he did. And to the end of his days, Arthur's banner was always a red dragon. A pen dragon. Now, girl, you'll wait here. Rest. Stay in the gloomy castle full of corpses. What I have to show is for Hellboy alone. He's like, I don't. And Alice interrupts him. No, it's alright. I'm tired of walking. So it was a bedroom. A little bed for her to rest in. It's like, you sure? She'll be safe, I promise. And Alice goes up, is all tender on him. Don't worry about me. You have to go. I think she understands the heft of it more than he does. So this queen-looking lady, very ominous now, is like, Hellboy. And goes into this door under the statue you've seen at the beginning of the book. I'm going to assume that's their depiction of Arthur. You know already, don't you? I'm going to have to see it. And he's like, damn. As something opens up and is bright and overwhelming. So based on this comic so far, what do you think is on the air side of this door? It is a beautiful garden. It's my secret garden. Except it doesn't suck and isn't boring, and you didn't have to read it in 3rd grade. You've carried a gun, but you've always felt more natural holding a sword, and you got a sword in a stone by a little pond. Sweet ass looking sword too. You feel it. Draw out that sword, and your army will come. What army? And I love how they're just sitting here. Like, he's just sitting here, like, taking it in like a child with bad news, and his nanny's like, we're going to have to get up and change your shitty pants at some point. And it focuses again on the dead people, because that's the army. That's when I put it here. It's like, oh, that's why she has a bunch of dead people hanging. So they're just going to wake up hanging from the ceiling. He's like, no way. You died and live again. So the noble dead of Britain will come again to follow their king. The else who once would have fought this war are gone now, or turned to her side. It will be settled on the distant fields, and the men will never know of it, unless you fail. Then all will live her nightmare of blood, till none live at all. Who is she? And this is where I really start to consider what they mean when they say dragon in here. Nemu, sometimes called Vivian, who charmed Merlin and stole his secrets, used him against him, and entombed him alive. She gained great powers, to hear and understand the voices of all things in the earth, and spirits in the air. But one voice she heard, louder than all others, the dragon. And this is what I mean, because this dragon's starting to seem a little Lovecraftian, if you get what I mean. Not the red dragon of Britain, but the soul-destroying black dragon from the beginning of the world. It drove her mad, and other witches turned against her, killed her. She was cut into pieces, and those pieces scattered, but they would not stay separated. So I'm assuming she was poisoned, that's her arm trying to crawl back. So finally her parts were put into a box and buried in a secret place. But now she's free and whole again, and still mad. It's like she's back and she's pissed. And she's pulling together an army of bad guys. Yeah, I heard this part. Now she calls herself a goddess of war, but her war has no objective other than the spilling of blood. All blood. And Hellboy's just staring at that sword. Nothing but blood. And you guys see him beating on these giants again. Look, they're starting to look concerned. That's why this guy's like, oh, should I still be invested in this? And these guys are like, oh man, I should run. And boom, he comes down on the first one with a swing, and it falls back. And he starts lopping off limbs. You have a hand flying off. Blood. More blood. You have heads flying off. You have the giants getting chunked into pieces. Another hand coming off. As Hellboy goes to punch, nothing. But, and he's swinging on. He looks so badass here with the heavy shadowing, the backlighting, the crown. Like, I'm probably going to say this a lot, but this issue has some of my favorite art, and this is one of the panels right here. Blood. And he gets ready to swing again, and it focuses out on the sword. For in the end, the moon will be his blood, and the seas boil, and land burn. Then I saw another beast, which rose out of the earth. It had 2 horns like a lamb, and it spoke like a dragon. I mean, dude, he looks so badass right here. And he's just standing over the dead freaking giants. And he starts like just laughing fire. And he looks like a badass like motorcycle patch right here. It spoke great signs, even making fire come down from heaven to earth, in the sign of, no! What the hell? What did I... And this is when he comes to, it deceives those who dwell on earth, binding them. He's like, no, no! And he rips his horns off. Just brutal. Take the sword, your army will come and save your people. And there's a Revelations 13:11-14. And you know I got plenty of Bibles handy to look just that up. And Revelations is always easy to find, because it's the last book of the Bible. Okay, Revelations 13:11-14. And I saw another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spoke as a dragon. And he exercises all the authority of the first beast in his presence. And he makes the earth and those who dwell in it to worship the first beast, whose fatal wound has healed, and performs great signs, so that he even makes fire come down from heaven to the earth in the presence of men. And he deceives those who dwell on the earth, because the signs in which it was given him to perform in the presence of beast, telling those on earth to make an image to the beast, who had the wound of the sword and had come to life. You know, I think this is the first time we whipped the Bible out for a non-Bible comic. Well, Bible adjacent. And then Hellboy's there with this dead lady. So she's been waiting there dead just like the rest of them. What do you care what happens to the world anymore? What is it for you? My son should have been king. You will be. And it fades out, she's not there. Another time Hellboy was talking to the dead. He's just sitting there looking at the sword, trying to figure out what to do. And then we have our continuation of the Monster Men. And you might remember in the last episode, this helmet guy, he was investigating some little girl ghost with this other chick. And they were in a building that kind of fell through the floor. And there was like a magic mustache skull that like seduced her, and she walked off. And this little weird guy showed up, and he tied him up because he doesn't trust him. And he's dragging him around. They're trying to find the chick. Well, I guess he was carrying the skull around his neck. That's why he doesn't trust him. So, the Monsterman in O Sinner Beneath Us, Part 2. Don't blame me, Squire. It's your lady friend who's run off with my property. She may not be in charge of her own actions, Croak. Any notion where she'd be? If it were me, I'd head for the whistling pit. Blasted irons, go gentle on me. And he's just a dick pulling them around, bouncing them. Get used to them. The puttyfoon shackled you in chains for your own design. Or have you forgotten? You forged these cursed chains, link by link. They represent a lifetime of cruelty and preservation. No need to rub my face in it. You hear that? You'll see old Croak isn't so bad, now that you might need to rely on him. And he's kind of like frogging down the stairs really fast. So I guess this is where like Croak like strives, is going down the stairs. It's like that guy who rode a bicycle so much, like he's now in pain to just stand or sit normally. Here we be, yonder's whistling pit, and the whole room is like black and white. The mouth of the damned. Careful. And he has a shit-eating grin on his face. And you notice his little wispy goatee, which you really didn't before. Oh, I love how they did the bricks here with the red outline. It kind of looks like a Trevor Henderson monster, but you kind of see a little nose there, which makes you think it's just something with its mouth up to it. Kind of reminds me of the Mouth of Hell motifs. Yeah, a flying whale, bird guy on a horse, bunch of naked people. If the skull's as evil as you say, your lady friend likely tossed it below. Somehow she fell too. Sad nothing comes back from there. Don't take it so hard, Squire. She probably saved the whole world. And then Croak here with his bent over position. They kind of, I think they messed up drawing his legs there, which one was supposed to be on what side. But somehow he kicks the guy off the edge and he's like, see for yourself. And he starts falling down. But he still has the chain and he's pulling Croak, and Croak's trying to hold himself at the pit. It's kind of like 300 if the guy would have grabbed Leonidas's beard. Well, I guess it would have still beaten him up because, you know, Gerard Butler's beard is that tough. It's up or down for both of us, Croak. Which will it be? Easy now, Squire. Don't slip your cable. Oh, he's slowly pulling him up. Fact is, my black heart ain't worth a biscuit, as you'd be quick to point out. But I am to change my ways, and you have my good word on that. And then there's this creepy vampire dude hanging from the ceiling holding the chick. I guess she's naked and in a blanket now. I am encouraged to hear that the big lies have not gone out of fashion. And Croak's just like, Dick. The Mustachio Demonico restored. So this was the skull. Your Eminence, I tried. He's like, but you failed. So now he has horns, and I guess his mustache is little snakes. I didn't understand that before. Kind of looks like something you'd see in chick publication, honestly. You can tell whoever drew this, like, their shadowing's way different. They have a lot more line work. Like, this person spent a lot of time drawing this to try to get separation of tone and whatnot. So the mustachio guy was not wearing a robe. He unwraps wings. He was like covering his body with wings. You failed to destroy an enemy. And he drops this chick, and Squire is like, whoof, catches him. However, it was through your deceit that an innocent became the means of my rejuvenation. Come, you may have proven your worth, as I go aboard to gather my flock. It will make my territorial claim that much easier. Not so fast, Croak. You heard the maestro. You are finally called upon. And he starts swinging him around in a circle. For a useful purpose! And he chucks him at the dude as he's like flying off. The wings are coming out of a really weird spot. They're like armpit wings, attached to the thigh. I mean, it makes sense like here, and here, and I feel like you see a lot of classical art like that, but it's just kind of weird to see from like that angle. And the chains wrap around him, thwack, and Krolk starts weighing him down, choking him, and he kind of death spirals and slams to the ground. Instead of a cross, an albatross about his neck was hung. That'd be the Ancient Mariner? Ugh, minor poetry. This dude's just all chained up and he's like, please stop. This is the worst thing to happen to me in a long time. Prepare yourself for one more drop you cannot drink. Now see here, you misjudged me, squire. And he starts kicking him across the floor. He's just dangling around the dude's neck dragging. Your chains tell a different story, Krolk. And he kicks him into the pit. And the links that entangle you cannot be unbound. Undone. The links of evil. And he falls into the demon mouth pit. Or untwined. So later Benedict and Sunset emerge from the depths, much to the relief of their colleagues. Yikes, not too bad down there, I hope. It ends happily for us, unhappily for others. Miss Lane and I are off. She requires attention. This looks really suspicious, like, because she's just kind of naked in a blanket now. Yeah, it was good for some of us. What are they supposed to think? Poor kid. I know how that feels. Remember me after the Suffolk organ grinder atrocities back in 91? Indeed, Mr. Hodgkinson. Fill in this hole and dismantle the remains of the Smith's mansion in the prescribed manner. Lawrence, I leave the last task for you. So this is just every day for them. And he's helping the chick to his car. Mark the entire ground with the second Samael ritual. Also apply an abundance of hyssop. Mind if I double it this time? And the dirt covered the dead and the unhappy, embracing them both, so they would not rise again. The end. I like how the end is like in the hole and it's being filled in. Very creative art layout. Used to have ads for more books, and very much like these publications to put them at the end. Some new series called Dark Discoveries. Now this looks more like a magazine. Here we have Mike Miganola again. Love your art, dude. Picsou, which I don't know. I cannot really. It's kind of like a skull explosion. Mark of Evil. There's not too much to draw you in there, but this one, and I forgive you, whoever drew this. I don't mean it's ugly as in it's bad, as it's unskillful, but that is one of the ugliest depictions of a human I've ever seen. And immediately I want it, and I'm going to get that. So I'm going to try to find this book, and we'll see it in the future episode on the channel. But that has been issue 6 of The Wild Hunt. Getting really close to the end of these, and man, have they not disappointed so far, and they keep gearing up. I cannot wait to see how these end or where it goes. And I hope to definitely see you back for them. But there's not too much more we have in here, so let's get to the final thoughts for now. You know, I don't even feel like... Normally I would say, like, did I oversell it? Did I undersell it? But, maybe this is the first one of my videos you're seeing, and if so, welcome. But these have been so consistently good, I would be shocked if it wasn't. Even though this one's more of a build-up one, I mean, I loved it. I loved the story. I loved what it gave me. It gave me a satisfying amount of action, which is what you want, and enough compelling story to make you go more. Again, I'm going to bring up Sonic. A lot of the Sonic comics did this splitting the issue in half thing, which always annoyed me. We'll read more of those here on the channel pretty soon, by the way. And I felt like they didn't break the stories up very well. Hellboy does it a bit differently. And I really enjoy their pacing a bit more. I still would rather it just be a full Hellboy comic, but I mean, I am enjoying these mini ones in the end. I'm not thinking they're all going to relate to the main story, though. Some of them just seem like little one-off stories. I think, the story aside, there's a few of these where I like the story a bit more. I've had a bit spoilers from just knowing so much about Hellboy and kind of knowing what happens in the story. But I think in this issue, the art has been my absolute favorite. There's just so many deeply dramatic scenes that personally move me. And that's one thing about these Hellboy comics is they like emotionally make me feel moved in a way not a lot of comics tend to achieve. And I think that's pretty special. And I'm pretty convinced at this point that Hellboy can most definitely defeat Captain Planet. He could just start global warming and depower him. If you made it this far in the video, thank you. I'd like again to invite you back here next week when we're going to be stepping into the spirit. But until then, I hope to see you back here. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, if you could take the time to like, subscribe, or comment on my videos, it greatly helps me out with the algorithm and satiating its bloodthirsty lust for content. But that's all I got for you this week. Until next time, stay safe out there.